And good morning. Welcome into Coffee and Conversation, Barren County Schools Day here on WCLU. And we're always glad when Tuesdays roll around. And good morning, Lori Downs.
Good morning, Todd. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for stopping by today. We have a very serious problem that we're talking about today.
Yes,
and
sir.
It's always good to talk about the good things, but we need to recognize some other things so that we can deal with them in our society today.
Absolutely. And Todd, we're going to be talking a little bit about, continuing the conversation about online safety and, being on online and involved in all of our social media accounts. That can be a wonderful thing in a lot of ways. It allows us to connect with people that we, across our country and world, so to speak, and have those positive interactions with them. But also there are some very serious things that can happen online, and we need to be having those open and honest conversations as well.
Right. This is something happening all across the country.
Yes,
Every
sir.
community is dealing with it, and right here in our own, and the more we understand it, the better we can protect our kids.
Absolutely.
What is sextortion?
Well, Todd, it is it's a form of extortion where there is someone, often targeting children, but it can be adults as well, where they are going to ask us to give them money or inappropriate pictures in exchange for them not sharing something out. And often that is them threatening to share out inappropriate pictures. And so we often, and we think sometimes that this is, it's just, first of all, it's just not a child issue. It certainly can happen to adults. But we often think about this happening to high school students. And what we know is it certainly can happen in that age range, but often much younger as well. And because we are giving access to our kids at such a young age, to a variety of social media accounts, and that is one of the things that we are potentially exposing them to.
Well, how are school-age children being affected by this?
Well, Tom, we often, you can see a number in just any kind of negative interaction online. You may see a real change in behavior with our kids. They may become very withdrawn, may see some physical changes with them. Depression and anxiety would be huge pieces of this. And we know sometimes that kids that are suffering through this, because they will often suffer in silence, they are embarrassed to share out if they have this going on, that they may have thoughts of harming themselves. And so that is the extreme end of that scenario, but we know that occurs.
It's important to realize this is not just happening in high schools, correct?
Yes, sir. As we said, this is happening across the range of our students, as young as our elementary students, middle and high school. And again, it can also be happening with adults. And one of the biggest messages we want to share out with everyone this morning is you do not have to suffer in silence. If this is going on, if someone is asking you for something inappropriate and then telling you that they are going to share something out if you don't comply with their request, adult, child, it doesn't matter. You need to let somebody know. And we are here at the school if we can help out with that, but we would encourage you to contact local law enforcement, the Barren County Sheriff's Department, the Glasgow Police Department, the Kentucky State Police. Reach out to a trusted adult or reach out to the schools, counselors, principals, teachers, any of us at the board office. Let somebody know if you have this going on.
Well, what's really scary is the AI-generated
Yes, sir.
sextortion that's happening. That's really a serious problem.
Yes. So when we are sharing any type of picture out online, we give people access to those things, to those pictures to do good or bad things with them, to just be honest. And so what can happen with, more than one site online, which is so unfortunate that these things are even out there. And AI can be a wonderful tool as well, but it also can be used for very evil things. And this is one of them, where, Todd, for example, we could take a picture of your face and, attach it to, honestly, to anything that we wanted to. And that occurs a lot, where sometimes our children haven't even given out anything inappropriate. But because there are pictures, they have pictures of themselves online, people do negative things with that. We've seen that with Taylor Swift. We saw it with Princess Kate a little bit in talking about those AI-generated photos. Right. So these have happened to, people that are very, prominent individuals in our society. This has occurred.
Right. And caregivers are probably wondering, what can I do?
Well, One of the biggest things is to continue to monitor those accounts of your child and to be able to have those open and honest conversations with them and not steer away from those uncomfortable conversations. It's uncomfortable to talk about sextortion, but we've got to be able to have those conversations with our kids. They have to know they can come to us and talk about it and not fear what will happen if they share out. We hear from our kids all the time that I don't want to say anything because that was an account I was not supposed to be on. And we tell them all the time, understood. And your parents may be upset, but first and foremost, they love you. And what they want to do is protect you. So we would say, have those open, honest conversations with your children. Understand they likely have accounts that you don't know anything about, even despite your best efforts to monitor the ones that you know. Have those protected times in the evening where they are not online. Have them, especially younger children, being not in their room behind closed doors on those devices. Have that space in your home where this is the tech zone and where you're going to be interacting online. Parents, we need you to understand the FBI estimates over 500,000 predators are online at any given moment. So when you think about the volume of that, one of the things kids tell us all the time is when we ask them for what inappropriate things they're being asked for online, they immediately tell us inappropriate pictures of themselves. So, and this is from young children on up. So we have to train our children how to use their social media devices, and we have to provide those spaces where they feel comfortable to talk to us about it.
And it's good to be proactive,
Yes.
as parents, grandparents may be raising their children.
Yes, sir.
And there may be a hard time for some of them to get their children to talk to them
Yes.
they may see a change in behavior.
Absolutely.
And be concerned about that. And they probably need to be reminded to talk with their counselor just to say, I'm concerned and can you help me here?
Absolutely.
Would that be a good thing?
Yes, sir. If you are seeing something and your child is not opening up to you, we would highly encourage you to reach out to the school counselor to have a conversation about, I'm really worried about Todd. I know something is going on. His baseline behavior has changed. I see it, but he's not opening up to me. Would you mind to check on him? Mm-hmm. We often find when we are seeing our kiddos, as we say, suffer in silence, so to speak, and those changes in behavior, it has something to do with their online presence. And we will go there. One of the first places we will check is that to see what's happening there.
In regards to talking about sextortion with our kids, that can be hard for caregivers as well. Advice there?
Well, have those age-appropriate conversations. For example, I know one of the analogies we use with our younger students is talking about them, how would they interact with somebody in public? And I know one of the things they will say back to us is stranger danger. Mm-hmm. And so we talk to them, for example, think about if you're in Walmart, would you walk up to a complete stranger and give them your name, address, phone number, tell them, what you like and dislike and everything personal about you? And they'll immediately say, well, no, we wouldn't do that. And so we say, then you shouldn't do that online. And that's a good analogy we use with parents. And with your older children, use the language and talk to them about predators online. Like, be age appropriate with them. And like I said, with our older kids, use the language and have the honest conversation with them. Have the honest conversation with all of your kids, but the verbiage may be just a little bit different.
Right. Are there any helpful technology tools that can assist parents?
Shell, Google Family Link is one. Bark. There are several out there, and you can honestly just Google any of those tools. We know one phone is you're training your kids to use. Again, I know we've mentioned this a couple of times, and it's there are many products out there. A pinwheel phone. There are phones out there and devices where all the apps are vetted, and every conversation, text message, everything goes through the parent phone, so you are seeing everything live that's happening with your kids. One of the other things, too, we would encourage parents to do, Todd, is role play with their kids. So, for example, just ask them, if you had this happen, how would you handle that? And have those conversations. That's also one of the things that we do at the school level. We talk to them about, if this occurs, how would you handle this? So we would encourage that role play to be happening at home, and as well as looking at those apps and options that you have to help monitor the screen time, the apps that your kids are downloading. There are things that we can do. This is not a problem that we just have to suffer through. We can help our kids get through it, and adults, if you are having the same issue, same thing. There are people out there to help. Please do not suffer in silence with this.
Right. Sextortion is a serious and growing threat, but we're not powerless, are we?
Absolutely not, Todd. And that's what we're saying. Let somebody know, adult or child, if you have this going on, tell somebody if this is happening to you, because we can help you through that, and we are going to work to protect you and get that stopped.
Okay. Right now, a lot of parents, some have already gotten to their schools, but there are people still in their car, I would imagine, that need to have a conversation about this.
Yes.
So we encourage that conversation to happen.
Yes, absolutely. Have it today. This is not something that can wait. It is a growing issue, and likely if your children have not been exposed to it or have that happen to them, they know a friend who has. So let's start talking about this, and let's start helping to protect our kids and also protecting adults.
Very good information. Lori Downs, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you, Todd, for having us on. We are very grateful.
And you have a good day, and we'll have you back, and we'll shine a light on some good things, again, but we do need to take care of the serious matters.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
We
and we hope
appreciate
everyone
it.
has a blessed day.